is Bev from Art by Dow, and I have a project for you from December. It is day 6, and our prompt is Selfie and Bubbles. This is my journal, and the page I have chosen that I want to work in today is this page. It's an old book page, and it has a flap on it, and I wanted that flap. So I have pre-prepped this page with some gesso on here and on the flap. And I have also printed out my selfies, but I didn't just do my selfie. I did Sammy's selfie, my selfie, Effie's selfie, and Meerkat's selfie. So we have the whole design team here for this project. So we'll set these aside, but they're going to go on this part here. And then I've also taken scraps of my papers that I just had here on my table and cut a bunch of bubbles. Mine are mixed media bubbles. There we go. So we have some bubbles to work with. And I also wanted a piece of paper with some color on it. Not a digital, but one that I have made, and I'm going to use that here to cover up some of this print. And on the other side, I have some coffee stained copy paper that I'm going to put here. Both of these have been pre-inked on the edges with Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. For this one, I also want to take my line stamp, which is a discontinued stamp. I've had it forever. Can you tell? Look at the mess. But it is from Art Impressions. You can do the same thing with a piece of corrugated cardstock, such as, sorry for reaching here. You take this piece of corrugated cardstock, ink it up. How about I just show you? So we'll take that corrugated cardstock. Let's put the journal aside and work on this page for a moment. And we'll take our vintage photo and we'll ink up our line stamp. Maybe I'll have to use my juicier ink pad. That looks better. And then we can take this right to our paper and put some lines on here, just like that, for journaling on. Now my piece is a little squished. If you get a newer piece of cardboard, it won't be as squished, and so you'll get better lines. But there's nothing wrong with these lines right here to use for journaling. So let's do the back side with this stamp, and I'll show you the difference. There we go. So if you compare the two, they do, if mine wasn't smushed, they do have similar qualities. Okay? So you know what? Since I've done this, I'm going to use this today. Then that will go on my page here, and I will glue that down. Now before I do that, do I want to add like some inks around the outside of my page, which I do. So where did my protective, there's my protective paper here. I think I'm going to have like a couple of sheets, because this could get a bit messy. And I'm also going to lift my journal up so this lays flatter. And I will get another piece of paper, which can just be this. And the inks that I want to use are my acrylic inks. I have a pink here. This one is Artist Loft acrylic ink, and it's called Pink Rose. Let's shake that up. And then I just want to add some ink around. A little bit goes a long ways too, I must say. The outer edges, because I'm going to be covering up the inner edges. And my spritzer bottle, take some water. There we go. And just make these inks bleed out like this. Just by dripping. I'm not really spraying right directly on the splash of ink, I'm kind of getting around it. Okay, so that's one color that I like, and I'm going to take a paper towel, and I have a big puddle here. Let's clean that up a little bit. And the other color that I think I want to use to go with this paper that I have chosen, which is right here, is maybe a green. What do I have for green? I have Daler Rowney, and it is sap green. So let's add just a little bit of that. I don't think it's exactly the same green as this, but I think it won't clash. So we'll take some of this, and again, a little goes a long way. Oops, I'm kind of missing it. And then we'll spritz that too. And it's a much darker color. All right, let's get that to bleed up this way. And our brown from inking up our page is also moving around a little. Now I need to dry this so that I can do the back side of this part here also. And I'm going to sop up a little bit of this moisture. Okay, I'm going to take my heat gun and dry this. Now that this is dry, I'm going to flip my flap over, and I want to add ink to that too. I am really liking this, and I might be changing my mind on covering it up, so we shall see what we do next. But for here, now I want to add a little bit of ink to the outside edge of this too. It's nice that this bled over from the other side. And a little bit of green. How pretty is that? I'll soak up some of the water. And then dry this. Okay, that's dry. So I had originally planned on putting this here, and I guess we see enough of the color around it. And I had also planned on putting this here, but I don't know that I really want to cover that up. Now this is going to be our hidden journaling here. So when this flap is closed, you won't see the journaling. But when this flap is closed and we have this all decorated with bubbles, I'm thinking I don't want this on here. So I could like put it over to the other page. I think I'm just going to leave that aside for now. Let's glue this down because I do know that I want this paper here for hidden journaling, and we still have the color around the edge of it. I'm going to take this down here below, and I'm going to take some art glitter glue. Actually, I could do it right up here and put it all along the outside edges of my paper. And did I mention this is coffee stain copy paper? And that can go on here just like this. I really like that. Now my ink is a little wet, so I'm smearing it, but I'm all right with that. Take a paper towel, I guess. Fold this in. I'll take my bone folder. Give that a crease. Make sure it's stuck down pretty good. There we go. Next step is to add our bubbles. I think I will do the inside first. So this is some of my mixed media paper that I cut these bubbles out of. Now to get my bubbles, I have used a Fisker's template and just drew around them and then cut them out. Let's see what else we have here. We can go a little bit onto the other page too. Bit of variety. And I may have way too many bubbles, but that's okay. So we'll leave some of this here in case we want to add something to that. And I'm thinking that's probably enough bubbles on that page, so we could go ahead and glue them down. And I'll use my art glitter glue for that. This is some ephemera. It's a printable. This is a piece of tea-stained copy paper where I just laid my tea bag on top of it, and I got this pretty color, and that was using a peach tea bag. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is our construction. It's not construction paper as in what little kids used to use. It's for architects. So you might call it architect paper. And then some sheet music. And then we have our little collage of bubbles down here. Let's get some bubbles going up here. I think we'll fold this one and we'll get it right down in the crease of our spine there. I'm kind of guessing the page next to this will probably be a journal page. Let's see, I think I want to put the biggest share of it over here. Push it right in there. There, that looks pretty cool. And then some more sheet music. And this is some of my mixed media paper here in different colors. And it looks like maybe we need to add a little one to that. So let's add, or a medium, another medium. Let's do this bird. There we go. There's our bubbles for that. Now we can work on our selfies. I have Sammy, of course. She should be top and foremost. Now, I think maybe some texture. So I'm thinking maybe some cheesecloth, of course, guys. Do I want to go with the avocado dyed cheesecloth, or do I want to go with white cheesecloth? Let's put that white on here and see what that looks like. We could just use these squares and go under each. Let's do that. Let's use these squares like this. I think these were cut out for another project. This is nice. We can see the color through it. How's that? Okay, I really, really like that. Get Sam. Oh yes, that's what that needed. Now let's get Sammy on here. She's going to be at the top. There we go. There's our Sammy girl. There's her selfie. Okay, I think we're going to have to get some glue underneath her too. Yeah. And let's see, who do I have next here? It doesn't really matter at this point. I just wanted Sammy at the top. I'm going to stagger them like that. More glue underneath. Get Meerkat on. I'll turn him the other direction. And then we have Effie. Okay, so I have to think about this folding open. It'll be fine. So there we go. So now I thought I would take some of these smaller bubbles and add them. Oops, I had a plan for them before I add them to here. Let me put my journal aside for a moment. I'll take all of these little ones that are left. So what I would like to do with these is I want to emboss them, and I want them to be shiny. So I have some ultra thick embossing enamel here, and it's Susie Weinberg's brand. in a dish, and I have a Versamark ink pad that I can put some ink onto my little bubble, dip it in my embossing powder, and then heat set it. So, and then while it's still warm, I'm going to dunk it again. One more time. I get a nice, so I end up with a nice glossy bubble. There we go. Okay, so I'll set that one aside, and I'm not going to have you watch me do all these. It's the same process for all of them, and when I get them done, I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and we have all of our bubbles here, all nice and shiny. And let's see where we want to add some of them. Pretty cool bubbles. We're going to have to use some tacky glue, and I want to put some in between the selfies over here. Let's see where we can slide a couple in. Maybe one more down here. Now, let's hope that we didn't overdo it on the bubbles. Let's put this one under so it kind of sticks out like that. So there's that border here with our selfies and our bubbles. And then we have some extra bubbles here. Before I add these, well, you know what? Let's just add these now. Let's open this up and find a few spots that needs a couple bubbles. Put one here. And let's use this one. Up here. And we have this pretty one here. I really like this one. Let me show you this bubble. I like the way that the color is running there, and it's spread out, and it just looks really cool. Probably my favorite bubble. And let's put that one up here. Now they have bent because of the thickness of the ultra thick embossing powder. And you know what? That one's bent just a little much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bend it back, and what it's going to do is crack that a little bit. But I need that to lay a little bit flatter. There, that's better. And I could put something heavy on top of that too. This one also is having the same issue. And I might also have to go with some different glue, like maybe hot glue. Part of it too is that there is, this ultra thick does not like to stick with glue. And there's some on the back of each of these bubbles. So I might have to go in with my hot glue gun, or I can just sit and play with them for a minute. That must be boring, right? So I think that's enough of those for now. I might still add those. We'll put them aside. But I have some of my sticker circles here that we could use for bubbles too. And I just want to add a couple of those for a little added extra interest because they're so cute. I really like these stickers. Let's add one here and one up there, and then I think we have plenty of bubbles. There we go. Might have to get my hot glue gun out. Now what I want to do is I have It's crackle paste that I have not used. I had some old crackle paste I was using up first. This is Distress, Ranger Distress crackle paste that's translucent. And I'm thinking I just want to add some along the edges in different areas. So after I do this, I'm going to have to let it dry before I can do anything more. Just for some extra texture. Now this might take a while to dry. Hoping not all day. I'm going to stop with that much and see what happens. So we're going to let this dry. Like I say, it's going to take a while. And while I'm letting that dry, I am going to get the hot glue gun and put behind these bubbles that do not want to stick. So I'll be back. All right, so I'm not a very patient girl, and I took my heat gun to my crackle paste here, and I don't know if that was the wrong thing to do, but it feels dry, but yet it's not translucent where it's thicker. So it might be wet underneath, and I don't know, since I dried the top, whether it will dry out underneath. So time will tell. But where it's thinner and it dried clear, it is crackled, and so that's pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead, and whatever will be with that will be. I really don't mind. This page is beginning to look more like an art journal page to me, but that's okay too, because for me, I don't mind if, like, the writing journal, the art journal, the junk journal, whatever journal, even a bullet journal I can take and do the art and the junk journal and whatever all in it. I don't mind if they all collide together. It's fine for me. So anyhow, I've got that on there. It's starting to dry. I got my hot glue gun. I got my circles all glued down securely. And I also, while I was waiting for this to dry, sketched in a little leafy thing here that we're going to add some watercolor to. And here are our selfies over here. This older paper, I hadn't used ultra thick embossing enamel on any of the older paper yet. And I did today, you see me do it. And it kind of went, the paper itself went translucent. You can see what's on the back side of this paper through the front side. And I think that is just really awesome. So I'm going to have to do more of that. Maybe even do bigger pieces for some collage, because I love that effect. So anyhow, I want to get my watercolor out now at this point. Let's just move this over and open it up over here. And do I still have some water or no? Yeah, I may have to go get some water. Some right here. And a brush. Here's my brush. And a paper towel, a piece of paper towel. Here we go. So what I want to do is I want to color in my fern. And I'm like, let's see, what step do I want to do first? I also want to put some shading around some of these bubbles here. And I'm going to do that with brown. I mixed up a little bit of brown yesterday for my bird, and I'm going to use some of that and just kind of go around the outside edge of some of these and put a little bit of shading on it. And I'm going to do the bottom right edge for my shadow. Let's put some on this and see how the crackle looks. Oh my gosh, I love the crackle. I don't know if you guys can see it because it's tiny, but yeah, that's what I wanted, was all of that to be like that too. But that's okay. We're going to go with it because what choice do we have? Right? So get my brown mixed up, put it on my crackle wherever I can, which is right there. And see if we can get some of these to stand out a little bit more. Now this watercolor is not going to stick to the really thick crackle paste. There we go. I'm liking this. Okay. Makes everything stand out. Let's get some watercolor down in these crackles. I love the crackle effect. So I hope you're working on something fun today. I am really just enjoying this process on this page. I don't know what it is about this page, but I really was not looking forward actually to doing it because of the selfie, and I'm like, I don't want to do a selfie. But I signed up for this. Well, for me personally, I signed up for it. As far as actually signing up or anything, you don't, you just join in. But anyhow, I decided I was going to do it, so I'm not going to be a quitter, and I'm going to do whatever prompts they throw at us, and it'll be fun. So wherever this stuff is crackled is really, really nice. We had a little bit of snow on the ground when I got up this morning. Not much to amount to anything, and it's gone now, but we did have a little bit of snow. I'm afraid that my shadow isn't quite exactly what I had in mind for a shadow, but it's going to be fine. I'm getting too wide. I think I'm getting maybe careless with it. I'm not taking my time here, and I'm just getting too much on there, especially right here. Of course, that's where some crackle paste is. That's what that's doing. Let me get some more here. Yeah, wherever that crackle paste is, I'm loving. All right, we'll leave that be, and we're going to pick up some green, and we're going to put our little leafy thing in here. So part of the issue is, like in this area, I have some gesso underneath, and so it paints really nicely. But then up here, it soaks into the paper, so it just reacts different. But again, I'm not going to stress. Everything is fine. I love to watercolor. I'm finding that and the acrylic inks are currently my favorite mediums to use. So what are your favorite ways? What's your go-to? What's your favorite way of adding color to a page? Leave some comments down below. Let's hear about it, guys. Then if you have any tips or techniques you'd like to share with us, we'd like to hear that too. I'm not a watercolor professional artist. I just like to dabble in it, and it makes me happy. And my art is supposed to make you happy, so it has, it's doing its thing. Looks like I missed a couple leaves there. So do you like to add like paints and inks and like a crackle paste, all these different things that's available out there? Do you like to add them to your junk journal? Or do you like to strictly stick to papers and making pockets and tuck spots, which I love to do. I just love to do all that. But also for me, my journal makes me the happiest when I can add like some art, some mediums like this. Really doesn't even matter like what kind. It doesn't. It's just these are my favorite for the moment. All right, so I think we'll call, now let's add another shade of green. So let's get a little bit darker green going here. I don't like that bright green. We'll tone that down maybe with some of our brown. There we go. And let's just maybe hit the top edge with that, some of that. Where the water really soaks into the paper, it's kind of hard to get, to get the watercolor moving, so you get that nice effect, the blooming out effect I like. And when the water soaks right into the paper, it's kind of hard to do. So we don't worry about it. We just add the color, and whatever it turns out, it turns out. All right, I'm going to hit that with a heat gun here, and because I have one more step I want to do to my page. So let me get that done. Oh, it's beginning to snow out here. Are you a fan of snow? Is anybody here a fan of snow? I don't like it. I don't like the cold weather. I don't like the snow. I really don't like driving in the snow. So I tend to stay home a lot in the winter, which is okay because, of course, I have stuff to do here, right? All right, I'm going to take a micron pen and just these little circles, these little bubbles, I'm just going to go around the outside edge of them. I just want to highlight them a little bit. And it's not easily done because of the different textures and that, and the pen just catches on it. But that one is done. Let's try this one too. I'm pretty much just staying toward the bottom right side of it. Well, it's not working real well. It's not a smooth, it's not a smooth application, that's for sure. Let's see what we can do over here. That one did better. That's better. Do we have another one? We do. We have another one right here. So that pops those out a little bit. Oh, there's another one right here. Use my number 1 and just add some messy lines around my leaves here. sketchy lines. Now these microns do write really nice on this crackle paste, this plastic crackle paste. So there's that. And how about if we just add like some little circles that would mimic little bubbles? Going way up to the top of our page. We'll do some more over here and just put them on top of all of the layers. And I'm using my micron pen because it's permanent. It shouldn't bleed. A few down here. When I started art journaling, I started with doodling. That's pretty much what my art journal pages were, was a little bit of color and a lot of doodling. And it was fun, but I really needed to get into color. Let's add a few over on this page. And like I say, I think this page is going to be a journaling page. So I think a few more here. Now, as this crackle paste dries, if it dries more, I will go in and I will add more color over top to make the crackle paste, the crackles show. I'm mumbling, I guess. All right, so I'm really liking that. This is nice, but I do want to add some stamped lines to it. So I'm going to get my stamp out and let's add some lines. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, I should have used my cardboard because that's what I used over here. Oh well, it'll be okay. They match close enough that it'll be okay. Especially when there's like bulk underneath, and so your stamp doesn't want to lay flat, and so you don't get a real good impression. And that's all right with me too. There we go. Okay, I like that. It's a double page spread here in our journal today. So that, my dears, completes this layout for me. I don't believe I'm going to add anything more until this crackle paste dries more, and then I'll go in with probably some dark watercolor and add to it so that we can see that. That'll make it pop out better. But these are my bubbles, and then these are my selfies, and that completes my prompt for selfies and bubbles in, let's see, December 6th, I believe we are at. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and we shall see you again tomorrow with clocks and wings. And I've already got an idea going through my mind if I can pull it off. And if I have the supplies, I'll have to look around and see. I'm thinking I do, so I'll have to dig deep. All right, have a great day. See you again soon. Bye.